after we talk today and enjoy this nice sunshine, and we'll have some discussion, then there'll be an opportunity. We'll go into this nice peaceful place back by the bluffs and bring a yoga mat or a blanket, and I'll put on some gentle music without words, and I'll guide us through a breath that helps us get into the deeper levels of our body and our emotions, so we can find out what's stuck in there, what needs to be loved, what needs to be seen, what needs to be unearthed to rise into the present moment, and then we integrate that part of us, whatever it is. Or if it doesn't belong there, we're going to get rid of it. So we're gonna basically find our way back home to love inside, so that we're free, and we're activated. That's the word, right? So has everyone seen the cover of the book so far?
You have a few of those books here, do you?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Yeah, the books are available, for sure. Brought a bunch for everybody. So if you look on the cover of the book, on the top of it, you'll see this white spiral at the top. That represents the source connection from above. So energy comes from the sun, through the stars, from source. It's all coming to us always. It's always available. There's always this free, pure, loving energy available to us always. And then you can see there's the roots at the bottom, and that represents our anchor here to Mother Earth, life here. You know, the trees are a beautiful expression of creation, and it's a philosophical journey if you really go deep into it.
Yeah, these trees are amazing here.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah, and I love your representation in the book. Yeah, I told you last time that I bought your book through like 3 months ago.
Yeah.
Or more, maybe 4 months ago. And I gave it to Austin, one of the Brevard County park workers, and he was having issues. And it helped him out a lot.
Wow.
Where he was going through a lot of turmoil, but I had read, like parts of your book, and it's amazing.
Thanks,
and it kind of gravitated towards him, gave it to him, and I think it really saved him.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's huge, man. Yeah, sometimes all we need is just a little nudge in the right direction, and then we remember naturally. So that's really what the book's about, is to help us know that we have the answers within us, and there's a part of us that's pure that will guide us, and sometimes we just need a little nudge, or to feel the love and feel warmth, and go, oh yeah, that's where my gravity is, because we can get lost in the energy that's wanting our attention to keep us in this low vibration. So in the image is codes, just like in life there's codes if you really look for it, and what we're living in, what this creation is. You can see with the faces, there's layers of faces. There's a right side and a left side, and then there's inner faces. And you can see in the center there's the spiral with the dots, with a dot in the center. That represents the heart, the center of the heart. There's a portal in there, and that's what we're going to explore today. So we don't really need energy from anywhere. I mean, energy is just anywhere, everywhere, all the time, and it's part of creation. But the message I want us to realize is that we can expand energy from our heart. It's our own energy. We don't need other people's energy, or we have to be careful when we're pulling energy from other places, because there's darkness here. There's a war going on. And some of us can see it, some of us can feel it. I've had my third eye open recently, and I've seen it. So I, without a doubt, 100%, I know what's going on. I've done my own journey with it all. But the power's in the heart. So the power that we have can expand out, and we can shine our light, so to speak. We can radiate this presence, and with intention we can create with this energy, and we can purify with this energy. And the key to get there, to have the heart open, is you have to have your emotions have to be healed, and we have to work through the lower energy centers, and we also have to have the two polarities of creation, our right side and our left side, in balance and in harmony together. And once we've cleared the lower energies and we've balanced our polarities, then the heart can fully open, and then we can experience a lot more power in creating the reality that we want. in all ways, business, relationships, world politics, whatever it may be, that where our heart is inspired to put energy into. It's more powerful than the mind. It's more powerful than the lower energy center of the will that a lot of the world's at right now. It's forcing its energy. It's dominating. It's a lower power. But when the doing part and the feeling part are in harmony together, there's a higher power that's unmistakable and it's unstoppable, really. So that's what today's about. That's what this moment's about, is to help us remember this higher power that transcends the need for force. It's a new paradigm of presence and magnetism and pure love. And then in the faces, there's multiple faces, so that represents the multiple dimensions. There's multiple parts of our self. We have our lower nature, our primal nature, our animal nature, and then we also have the heart, where the pure part of us always lives, the part that we come here and we as a child, and we're fearless and free. And then there's the higher order, maybe more our parent parts of us, more adult parts of us that we grow. And then it connects into the highest levels where we have our past life experiences and our ancestors and the collective group consciousness of our family and our soul groups, and it goes higher beyond there. And as we go higher, it's more of a collective group of energy, and down here it's more of an individual experience. So at the very point, you can think of it like as a pyramid. So at the very bottom is a point of singular I, and that's what we come here to experience. What is it like to be separate and me? And what we come from is this we thing. And a lot of spirits got bored with being in the we thing because there's rules. You can't be selfish, you can't harm others, and it's all mixed together. So there was an awareness of like, what would it like to be separate? And that's the big overarching journey of creation, as I understand it, that through my own personal self-inquiry. And you can have your own self-inquiry upon this, and whatever I'm saying, I'm thank you for being open to it, but verify this within yourself, what feels good. And I'm not here to say I know everything, but I have enough within me that I feel confident to share. And I just thank you for giving me the opportunity to share. So we're having the experience of the I, the me, and when we activate into the heart, we start moving into the we consciousness. So we start thinking about others, we start feeling others, we start to move into this space where we feel everyone, and we also feel pain. We feel our own pain, we feel other people's pain, we feel it all, and it can be it's a very unknown space. But ultimately, the simple truth that I found is that love is good, love is always good. And so it sounds simple, maybe sounds cliche, but if we can bring love and patience and kindness to all the feelings, eventually it'll release within us and in the collective, and we come back to what just is, which is love. Is all what we're made of. It's how we come here. Our parents loved each other for whatever moment in that time, right? At least that they had that, and we came in. Hopefully they loved each other for 70 years into their golden years. So that's a little bit about me. So I'd love to get some reflection. Maybe tell me a little bit about. Maybe introduce yourself, say why you're here, or any reflection, maybe just for like maybe 2 minutes or something. We can just do a little circle. Does that sound good? Yeah? Who wants to start? Anyone? Popcorn?
Probably not me.
Not you?
Probably not.
Yes.
I mean, very simply, the timing worked out. I woke up. I thought it was, you had mentioned you were doing an activity. I don't know the details, but I feel like it's right for me to be here. That's the why of it, at least at this moment. I agree with what you're saying, and I guess just a comment that, there's been a lot of conversations on the nature of reality, consciousness, our connection to it, that I've been having past few days, past week. And a lot of synchronicities have been bubbling up in not only my life, but the lives of people around me. Amazing coincidences, that have for many years confirmed, validated for me that there is, I don't know if I call it a creator. I'm exploring Hermeticism, so the all, the consciousness that we are all enveloped within, seems to have a plan and a suggestion for direction, and maybe my higher self is a part of that. I'm not clear on it, but what you're saying aligns with what I sense and believe. So, let's walk on.
No, thanks for sharing. You want me to give you that?
Sure, I can share. My name is Sarah. I wasn't expecting to stay today, but I'm so glad that I'm able to stay for a little while. It feels, like home. I'm a very empathic, spiritual person, and sometimes you feel very lonely in this world, and so it's so cool to be around so many like-minded folks. It makes me feel not so alone, and very validated in my beliefs as well. A lot of the things you're saying resonate with me. I have a little studio. It's called Soma Smart Studios, and I do breath work and meditation and sound healing, and I'm an artist, and so all of these things are right up my alley. I had an event yesterday where I had 10 people at the studio, and it was just an incredible feeling, like you were saying, to just be that conduit of God's love, to help people find that balance in their life, because so many of these women were coming from just go, 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 do, and it was even hard for them to relax. So to be able to just open up my space and my heart for people to be able to relax is such a gift. So I appreciate what you're doing, and I'm definitely going to get your book. Even just the painting on the front speaks to me, and your explanation of it. So I'm hoping that I can stay here long enough for the breath work, because I'm a breath work facilitator.
Nice.
But it's so nice to be able to be on the receiving end of someone else facilitating that. So
Yay!
I'm excited, and thank you, and it's been so nice meeting everyone.
I'm so glad you're here.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
And I'm scooching into the sun too.
Yeah, chasing the sun.
Yeah, I'm Marty. I go by Smoky Mountain Shaman, which is spirit warrior, and shaman is that I'm an intermediary between the physical and non-physical. And my job here essentially is I work with the 18 fallen angels of the dark to help humanity, and then all the ones that were tricked into sitting upon themselves. So, to hopefully turn them around in their path and prepare them for possibly graduating to the other side. So.
It's a big mission, brother.
Yeah,
Yeah,
sir.
yeah, I'm one of them. So I'm one of the original 54 original angels. So
Right on.
it's that's why I have kind of a crazy job, but yeah, dealing with them is difficult.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it will help everyone. It'll help the collective. So, but we all have a great purpose here. So, and we're all gonna, amazing things are gonna happen
Yes.
within the next, few years here. So,
Absolutely. Amen. Well, thanks for being here, brother.
yeah. Thank you for having me. Yeah.
Of course. And brother?
Yeah, it was a great week. I feel like there's a lot that got done, which is nice. And,
Got to meet
a lot of people today.
Dave? All right. Good morning, Dave. Did you have any intentions or expectations or questions for today, or any reflections on what I shared, or?
Just to enjoy the sunshine.
All right.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, we'll go slow today. Go in the breath. I know I have a lot of power, and it's fun to project all that power, but a lot of today is going to be some gentle energies and going inward and relaxing today. Love, would you like to speak?
I'll say something.
Yes?
I'm extremely grateful to be here with all of you and enjoying this nature with no interruptions. It's gorgeous here, the sun is shining, and it's just a wonderful feeling to be here.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
First of all, I just started my camera here, a few minutes into your presentation, and what struck me immediately was the comment that you made about how you set your intention and kind of let Providence move in to support your mission. Now, I'm ad-libbing what you said. If you could recall how you language it, that would be great to get that on camera. Do you recall how you language that?
I've committed myself in service to humanity, and there's a power that moves through me when I show up in service. It's not there always, but when I'm like, okay, it's go time, then this power shows up, and it has many names, but it's a real feeling. I connect through the sun. You just feel the sun's warmth. Imagine that just burning bright through your heart.
So, something you said kind of triggered a thought in my mind, is that concern about money or the future is become less of a concern, because somehow I know I'll be provided for. I've been a building contractor my whole life, and somehow jobs always show up, contracts always show up. Similarly, law of attraction. The right people show up at the right time. It's just so amazing and incredible to see that manifest over and over again. And the more you get into the zone, the more you attract the elements that serve your purpose. And so I'm interested to see what we're going to discover today.
Wonderful. Thanks for sharing that.
My turn?
Go
Hi,
for it.
everybody. My name's Chris. I like nature and fixing things. I'm learning how to code and sail. And hopefully, if everything goes right, I'll be in the Bahamas by Easter. Mediterranean by the end of the year. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Good morning.
So crispy.
What a day, huh? I've been truly lucky to have spent many days here about this time last year, all by myself on this wonderful experience. It get a little lonely after a number of days, but being here. But this event, I didn't really know what it was about, but it didn't matter. Anything my dear friend Chad invites me to is worth coming to. So crazy happy to be here. Matthew?
Hi everybody, I'm Matthew, and I was under the impression that this was a one-day thing, so I came yesterday with my partner and had such a beautiful time, and I felt Zacharia's energy the minute I met him, and I heard that you're going to do your own facilitation, so I drove all the way back from Jack's Beach this morning with my wiener dog, and I've been studying consciousness for the past year. When our thoughts, words, and feelings come into alignment, that's when we do manifest our co-creative gifts. I come from the world of professional ballet, and I've traveled the world to do so, and I believe it's my mission on this planet in this lifetime to bring the performing arts out of the dark ages and back into the cultural pinnacle of every village and every community, and that starts with the power of the language. So I'm here to shed the light and bring the light and raise everyone's vibration.
You're doing it, brother. Thanks
Awesome.
for being here, man.
Thank you.
Brian, been here for 2 months tomorrow. Got my camper. This is a dream for me. This is everything I've ever wanted. Place is beautiful.
Does that mean you're a happy camper then?
I am a happy camper. I stayed with Chad in 2020 during COVID and everything, and during the lockdowns, and it was starting to get bad. It was November 2020. We went to Rental Expo, and I was there for about a month, and that was like paradise for me, right on the water with a boat. And here is just 52 times better. It's amazing here. It's really what I've been envisioning, and believe in manifestation. If you can dream it, it's possible. It's like anything that you put your mind to, you can foresee. And I don't even know what I keep manifesting so much that I don't know what else to where to go from here. This is what I've got a place up in New Hampshire too, and I've got basically a dream up there. I've got little slices of heaven on earth, and I love it.
I guess that means you should become a recruiter now. Start bringing people.
Yeah, that is next. That's being able to share this with others, making it possible, making it known how wonderful this life is. Just being nomadic, just being able to be free to go anywhere, anytime, is just the most liberating thing you can really do for mental health and having that freedom, that inner peace.
Wow.
Yeah, and to build off of that, I think the one thing is trying to teach people how simple living can be. It doesn't need to be complex. You can have creature comforts in a low-tech environment, and you don't need a nanny state. You can be independent.
And I look at the contrast too. I've got my sister has her family, 2 kids, and they live in a cul-de-sac neighborhood with they mow the lawn and they do all of the perfectly manicured lawns and all of this stuff. And it's just such a huge contrast.
Yeah.
And the happiness that I see here with all of us is beyond. They're living the American dream with the white picket fence and all of that, but this is really what makes people happy. I think. Just being out in nature, being out
Who wants to
surrounded.
go back to society, right?
It's it's a manufactured happiness thing.
This is the anarchist.
It's like Sims.
Yes.
It's simulation.
It's community.
Community.
Medicine. Thank you so much for the share.
Yeah, great, Brian.
Wish
That's
you the
awesome.
best on your journey with connecting people to come here, good hearts, and wherever your journey. I love the highest pinnacle you're speaking to is to have that freedom and the vision of going wherever your heart, wherever you're inspired to go, and there will be food and community everywhere, and that's what we get to do if we choose to do that.
I'll jump in.
Yes.
I think Brian's going to be very key to us teaching this, because Chuck and I have said for a long time that we're, dreaming it, building it, testing it, and then giving it away. And Brian has a million connections with the Free State Project up there. And I think once we really have something that works, and we're right, I feel like this weekend really showed us how well it can work. I don't feel like any of us had this master checklist. It just all kind of worked organically, and people did stuff, and it worked out. And if that just happens, that's what a community can be about. And so to answer the question, why am I here? Well, I kind of live here, so you're kind of like, I don't really have a choice. It's been such a great weekend. Everyone that I've talked to has had an amazing experience. Maybe they're just telling me that because that's what I want to hear, but it feels like it's been really good. And I'm really here for your event, because it's you, man. You're cool, and we've known each other for a long time, and this is great. I'm so glad you came up.
Thanks for having me.
Hey, if I can say as a privileged observer, I think you're here because you've been fucking fighting to make this vision happen for a long time, with a lot of situations and challenges for years,
Yeah. Thanks for that. It really was 2015 when I left the community that I was in, and I knew that this was possible. And it's here now. It's done. We've summited the mountain now, and I think it's going to be a lot easier on the way. But this is huge to have that thing.
Yeah, I hope.
To actually have an event center, which the weather won't cause a problem.
Yeah.
I'm still amazed we got that done in time.
Yeah.
Those guys were awesome.
Thank you, Chad, for keeping us going. For all the struggles you went through.
Well, thanks for coming up and sharing. You guys weren't too far away, and you got your own lives going on down there, and to drive that behemoth up here when it was all nicely settled. You know, I mean, that's cool that it would be important enough for you guys to come up. So thanks for that.
It's been fun. It worked out.
Well, I'm having a very good time. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here.
Yeah.
Thank you for your presence.
So my name's Dwayne. I'm here to find my community where I'm going to be in the next 10 years or so. And been on a journey of awakening, so to speak. And it's amazing how now when I go back with my family and just see how they're so not aware and why it took me so long to get to even where I'm at. And so coming from that background, it's like, these people ain't got a clue. They don't even know, zero clue of themselves even. So I'm grateful that I can see that. You know, it's nice to be able to see that in yourself. But yeah, definitely, and like you, the whatever word you want to throw at it, the higher power involved in all of this, and I've seen pieces of it at different times in my life. Not something that I can access willingly, but it comes when it needs. So moving towards that.
Wonderful. It's wonderful to have you. You have a beautiful presence. Thanks for showing up. Would you like to share?
I'm glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
Oh, thanks, man. Thanks, man. Yeah, so nice to meet you, and feels like this place is an opportunity for us to like unwind and get out of the programming or the patterns of what we're speaking to. There's been a lot of discussion on what is and with the negative energy towards it, and one thing we can do to liberate some energy around that is that we can move into understanding that we're all innocent souls. We're all like children inside. Even the crazy old curmudgeon guy in the corner, right, that's yelling at you and get off my lawn or whatever, right? Back, you know, he's a little boy in there, and he's just scared, and he's trying to protect himself. And we've created this system based on the way life was. And so now we get to create life that we want to create. We get an opportunity to create the life that we want. Everything that's been done before has set us up to have these privileges. I mean, food is easy. We get all this time to evolve our consciousness. When a lot of people are just in survival mode, maybe they don't know where they're going to get fresh water or have food. You know, so if we can tune into a little bit of gratitude for the system and what privileges it gives us, and move out of judgment into understanding that they're doing the best they can with what they know, that they're just innocent, that maybe they're lost, they're hurting us because they don't know any better, or they're sad because they don't know any better. They haven't been here yet. They haven't seen what we've made yet, and so we can eventually invite them. So little things like that, start tuning into where is the negative energy, where's the judgment, where's the energy get tight, and where can we unlock that? Because there's energy in that, and that's a bit of the theme to do today within ourselves, is where do we have judgments, negativity, where are we putting our energy into that's creating resistance? Where can we find resistance within ourselves? How can we relax that energy and open that energy? And then as we do that, as we discover all those opportunities within us, we'll begin to feel more warmth and more love and more peace, even when we're in the middle of all that. And we can anchor in what we know is possible. We can anchor in a new frequency, a new vibration, and that's going to be a creative force and a creative opportunity to, you know, for business opportunities, for income, for creating more here. So what I'm speaking to is to every challenge that we face in this world is an opportunity. You need to know, and the more crazy it is, the bigger of an opportunity from an entrepreneurial point of view. And not all of us are up to the task to do that, but hopefully you got the message I'm speaking. Did that make sense, to see all these as opportunities?
Yeah.
Positive.
Yeah, and we don't change during times of comfort.
Yeah.
We change during times of conflict and chaos.
Necessity is the mother of invention.
Yeah, so this is a beautiful time if you use it to your, to your well-being. Yeah.
Love that. Love that. So, yeah. Please share your feedback.
Someone said yesterday, I think you did,
Yeah.
that we're all listening to the beat of a drum. And what I'm beginning to realize is I'm getting upset or I'm feeling triggered over what I made up about life. And so I see that or maybe I used to see that in front of my dad or my parents or people that are just surviving in this reality that we think we've been born into. And with that realization, I can go, well, thank you, God, that I hear this drum that we all listen to here. Because as we begin to dance to that drum and create to that drum, we are the change that we get to see in the world. So we don't have to fight other people that we just truly love and care about, and perhaps would love for them to hear the drum. But it's a blessing with real eyes to realize that we've heard the drum. Period. Thank you, God.
Love it. Yeah, we carry that drum, that beat, that heartbeat, and today's an opportunity to come back home, to relax back into this everlasting stream of love that's always there. And if we can't find it, then there's some blockage, and either we created it or some experience pushed us down. So it's a process of discovery to find out what's going on within us. It's a cleansing routine. So, we all brush our teeth, right? We are all taught by our parents to brush our teeth. And this is one of the routines that I do in the morning and at night. And if I have time during the day at lunchtime, I go inward, close my eyes, I lay down. It's beautiful, like in the middle of the day, just lay down on the earth and just get into this beautiful state of surrender, of letting go, and bringing awareness back. Instead of going outward and projecting my awareness in, I'm going back inside, and feeling, beginning to feel. So I'm no longer kind of like seeing, but I'm feeling, and some of us may be able to see a little bit, but it's more of a feeling sense, and a breath, and a relaxation, and I'm discovering whatever's in me. Maybe my shoulder. Oh, I'm feeling like a tightness in there. What is that? What is going on? Is that an emotion? Is that a feeling? So I breathe into that part of me and relax in the exhale, and it's like a massage. It's like an energetic massage that you can give. Sometimes that's a physical thing, and maybe you're getting the part, oh, I've got to work out. I'm going to do some yoga. It's a discovery process, whatever it may mean to you. Sometimes it's an emotion, like, a memory comes up, and like, oh man, that hurt my heart when that happened, and you can process what has happened and maybe discover a way to resolve the conflict or find understanding and forgive them or whatever it may be. But the goal is to find where things are tight, where things are dense, and bring presence, conscious, gentle presence to it, and breathe into it and relax it until it goes away. And sometimes it's going to take days, weeks, months, years, whatever our journey is, whatever lessons we have to learn. It's all individual for us. But the goal I'm trying to speak to and trying to shine light to you, to show you, is that there is a light at the end of the tunnel. Because a lot of us get kind of caught up when we deal with some really deep pains and with some really deep challenges that we go, okay, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go turn on the TV. I'm going to go to the bar, or I'm going to, just chat with my friend and do whatever. But to make time to do that. So that's what we're going to do today. Is we're going to go within ourselves and breathe into those parts of ourselves that have density. So that we're going to do that in the next segment. But I just wanted to speak to that today, because it's big work, and a lot of us don't have the opportunity to do it. So I'm going to help create space, and then it's something you can then take home to your daily practice in the morning when it's quiet, or before you go to bed when it's quiet, and just have some time to. It's like flossing or brushing your teeth. You're just going to go through and just purify yourself. And the more you do that, the more your energy will increase, the more inspiration and opportunities will arise for you, because you won't have as much blockages within you. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Well, I want wanted to mention
Yes,
too,
yes.
know, the reggae music, like the stick figure.
Yes.
All reggae music goes from the human heartbeat.
Ah.
It resonates with the heart, with the
Yeah.
heart chakra.
Yes.
I didn't know if any of you guys knew that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It feels good.
That's the reggae beat.
It feels
is
good.
the heartbeat. Yeah.
One thing I was going to add.
Yeah.
I think everybody has, it's validating to hear that everybody's talking about this thing that I'm practicing or believing. I'm trying to, well, so the short version is, don't fight conflict. Don't resist conflict. I believe that the conflict that you brought up, the conflicts that you brought up, that happened within, that happened externally, it seems that we humans cannot grow without some sort of conflict. It's like the path through growth is conflict. And so I've been trying to embrace the conflicts as they come and not just be resistant and say, oh, or judge it up front. And I'm actually trying to build this philosophy of it's all going to work out, and maybe this bad thing that I think is bad is actually good. I'm just assuming that it's good for the first time in my life. Wow. When the conflicts come up, both within and externally, for some reason that maybe I haven't figured out, or maybe I can figure out. So, and I'm hearing that pattern repeated in what you guys, the stories and the practices that you're sharing. That there is a conflict that arises, and there is love, there are ways, there are processes, there are practices, there are revelations, but whatever it is, the conflict is the way that we grow. It just seems as humans.
So with the conflict, it's good, but I would say that you shouldn't just conflict and let it go. Being conscious of the conflict and learning something from it, that's a must.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Okay.
That is the thing. That
Okay.
If you resist the conflict,
Yeah,
and
an
you
opportunity.
don't overcome or challenge or accept or resolve, even just resolve the conflict in some way, then it will continue to be a disruption in your life. But if you do resolve it in some way, then on the other side of that is growth. It just seems to be consistently true.
I'd like to speak on something about that too. My husband told me this story. It was some kind of ancient story, and I'm probably not going to get all the details right, but it was something about there was a town, and the horses all ran away, and the whole town is like, oh, that's such bad luck. And the one guy goes, well, good luck, bad luck, who knows? And then a couple of horses came back, and they're like, oh, that's such good luck. And he's like, oh, good luck, bad luck, who knows? Well, now these horses that they came back, they needed to be broke in. So his son was like, all right, I'll try to break in this horse, and got thrown off the horse and breaks his leg. And everyone's like, oh, such bad luck. Good luck, bad luck, it is what it is. And then right after that, there was the war, and they had to, send all the people over to war, and the kid had a broken leg, so he didn't have to go to. So it's like you really never know what divine has for us in the long term, and so trying to figure it out or decipher that, it really isn't our business. It's just trying to stay in the Tao, or in the center of all the chaos of the extremes. There's good and there's bad, but then there just is, so trying to find that balance. And I always try to find there's always a silver lining of something beautiful and positive in the darkest of days. There's always light in the dark. And so in the contrast, I just try to find the light. So
I always try to tell my children that things can always be worse. No matter what dilemma you're going through, things could always be worse. Yeah. And I also tell them that you can't truly be happy or know what happiness is unless you've experienced sadness. Then you appreciate the happy things. and that things could always be worse. No matter what you're going through, ups and downs in life, things could always be worse. And truly, truly hold on to the happiness. Because you've experienced sadness. We've all, pain, sadness, we all have experienced it at some point in our lives.
So contrast. We need contrast.
It makes you appreciate happiness that much more.
A few of us were talking last night, and this kind of thing came up, and my comment was, well, consider there's only one problem in the world. Only one problem. And this, that you think there's a problem, right? like if there's a forest fire, it's horrible. All the deer would say, oh my God, this is terrible, and they get burned to death, but it's a big problem. But from the 50,000 foot level and the regeneration of the forest problem, it's kind of a good thing. It needs to get burned out every once in a while to clean up the debris and fix the soil and everything. So is it good, is it bad? Well, from your perspective as a deer, it sucks because you got burned to death alive. But from the greater picture, it's just what happens in nature. And the only person that or the only thing that has a problem is you, because you have a perspective that leads it to be a problem for you. But is there really a problem? I mean, you have to question that. And it's really hard to do when you're the deer and it's happening.
Right. I believe there's a blessing in every opportunity, every experience, even the most fucked up shit. I was brought into this earth to experience that fucked up shit so that I can guide people across the bridge of the fucked up shit and go, you know what? There is a blessing here, and you agreed to be here, and you agreed to have your parents be your parents, no matter what. And that is self-empowering, and that is an authenticity, and those are the vibrations and the feelings that help us get through conflict.
So what you're saying is life is being up fucked up shit creek without a paddle? Is that what you're saying?
No, I believe that we are co-creating every experience, even the fucked up shit that happens as a kid. We were there to experience it so that someday we find the silver lining, and so we can move past the resentment. That resentment that rots the bones. Hate rots the bones.
Well, you can't pick your parents because you could take on the philosophy that you already did. Like, you think at this level you didn't pick them, but maybe on some other level you did because you wanted the fucked up. Because the last time was easy. You were a rice farmer 1,000 years ago and there was nothing going on. Well, now you've got this fucked up thing that you have to deal with, this big, massive problem. And then at the end of it, I mean, we've all been there, right? You had something horrific happen in your life, and then a year later, a month later, whatever, you're like, wow, that fucked up shit led to this, which led me to be over here, right? Like, well, this is a perfect example for me. Fucked up shit. I lived in a community. There were some things that were really fucked up. I basically got invited to leave through a series of things that happened, and what really happened is I was becoming an anarchist and realizing what the fuck was going on, and they were communists, and it wasn't a good fit.
You're a leader.
Some of my comments were not landing very well because they were all communists. Well, that fucked up shit getting kicked out, basically, now look what's going on.
Right, yeah.
We're not responsible for what happened to us, but we're responsible for what we do with it.
Yeah.
Resolution of conflicts.
Mm-hmm.
Things don't happen to you, they happen because of you.
For you.
Mm-hmm.
It's sometimes said that we actually choreograph all aspects of our life for our own growth, the good stuff, the bad stuff.
And I strongly believe that before we're born, our soul decides what life we're coming into. Like, we have a soul contract, is what I believe. So we kind of know before coming in that we're gonna have really fucked up parents.
Yeah, I think we have a
you know,
say.
because our soul, on a soul level, we have to go through all of the different levels of contrast so that the soul itself can evolve. So maybe one lifetime we come in and we're blessed and we're abundant and we're rich, but maybe another lifetime our soul comes in and we're poor or we're abused because, you know, the soul just has to go through. And so I believe that. And so that helps me to surrender into some of the unknown, to help me get out of like the victim mode of why is this happening to me? Well, maybe I could take accountability that maybe I chose this for my soul's highest good.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, I concur because I have memory of like everyone here and working with everyone on the other side, and then on display having multiple lives to choose from. So you all got to witness what you're doing right now, and I have direct memory of all of it. Yeah, working with everyone, and then everyone got to witness everything in real time here. Their family, all the experiences, everything. So you really did get to choose, you know, being here.
So affirmations, everyone, and the positive reaction to the challenges. And I'm just grateful that we're having this moment. My intention was to have a circle like this where we can all share our wisdom. This is beautiful. So thank you so much for sharing openly and vulnerably, authentically, raw, real. This is what it takes to get us activated, get our hearts open, and unearth the depths of us. So thank you for sharing. And I'll add to the confirmation of the conflict is the experience here, because we came here to all be separate, right? And so we all have our own individual desires. I want this, and then you say I want that, and then if we come into conflict, that's what we're here to learn. That's what this is all about. Is the differences of desires, and how do we find agreement together and work through things, and maybe surrender. Maybe the lesson here is a little bit of surrender on so strongly wanting it your way, and finding where it feels good. That's been the motivation for me. Is why I've found this path, is because when I've wanted it my way, I could maybe win, but the vibe was sour, right? And like, well, that didn't work out. Yeah, I could be strong and more intellectual, like stronger energy, maybe stronger mind, and I could battle and win, but then the vibes were off, and you know, friendships weren't good. So, and then in relationship too, you know, having a wife and a daughter or child, and you get thrust into it, and that's what I think this human experience is about, is to come together. How can we all work together? How can we surrender our strong wills, our strong desire, and move into a more of a collective will? That's what I think this opportunity community is about, and the challenges that will come and the conflict that will arise. If we have this guidepost and the leaders here know the path, then the community has an opportunity for success.
So Zach,
yes,
you touched on something that really struck me deeply.
Yeah.
The whole concept of winning and losing is such a cluster, because when you win, are you really winning if you didn't play fair, if you weren't considerate of all parties involved? Then it's not really winning. It's like the example I often use is like, there's the people who have their sports team and they're only joyful when their team wins, and they're bummed out when their team loses. And then there's the festival where there's music and food and stuff like that. That to me is a circumstance where everybody wins. It's not a competition to be a winner kind of thing. So anyway, I just wanted to add that.
Love that. Yes. Yeah. There's no winners in war, right? It's an illusion. And it's some old ancestral patterning that we're all here to reprogram. And that's a lot of this work that you have the opportunity to do within yourself, to find out what your ancestors came in here with. Like what did you pick up from your family? What are the values and patterns that you grew up in that are somewhat natural to you, but then maybe to rediscover, wait a minute, I learned this as a child, but maybe I don't want to do this anymore, and whatever that may be for you. And that's the most powerful work. And I don't know if you've experienced this, but I've experienced where when I start changing these patterns within me, then all of a sudden I start meeting other people with similar patterns, and I'm like, whoa, it's kind of eerie. It's kind of eerie, but it's also a very good feeling, like that we can make a difference. We can make a difference in this collective. I do understand. I don't know if you do, but I understand we're all connected. Our conscience is all connected, and so the bravery that it takes to go into the depth of the pain and the depth of the unknown into your subconscious is worth it, because if you care about the world, which it sounds like you all do, care about changing the world and making it better, then this is the most important work you can do. And give yourself, a day on Sunday, at least the afternoon or something. Set something up consistently, at least give yourself 15 minutes in the morning before you go to work or before bed. Just try to make it more consistent to go inside and just start cleansing your home. Sweeping, flossing, brushing teeth, whatever analogy you need. But this purging and this reflection is very, very potent work to create the world that we want. Is there anything else that we want to touch on? I have some things to show before we kind of maybe take a break and have some maybe snacks and things. Is there anything alive in anyone in this moment? No? I wanted to share just a little bit about EMF. We can talk about it in the break and more too. But so I got really sick about a year ago, and it was right after I got my new iPhone, and the 13, and I had an old one for a long time. There were so many sources of radiation, man-made radiation in my life, that my body just got overwhelmed and it shut down. It was like an allergic response, and it was really freaky. I would walk into my kitchen and the oven, I could feel it in real time. It was like, whoa, there's an energy there. And I was like walking into it, and it was repulsive, and I could feel all the electricity. I had to basically go deep into the woods and sleep on the earth, away from it all, phone off. Ground myself, let my aura recharge. There was so much that had happened to me. And then I started learning about it, met some consultants online who help other clients, and there's a lot of people that are getting damaged. That is, hey, you're good, guy, you're good.
It's funny you talk about that. I just finished reading a book about EMF energy harvesting, about building. Essentially, you build like a Faraday cage, and you can pull the energy out of the atmosphere and store it.
Interesting.
There's a patent from Germany in the 1920s where a guy set up an array over like 20 acres and powered a whole city with it.
Wow. Well, it's true.
And that was before there was big infrastructure too. Now with all the radio frequencies and everything, you can really pull some juice out of the air.
Yeah, it's real. So this meter here picks up the energy that's in the air.
Careful here.
Lloyd.
I don't know what his problem is, but
Lloyd.
it does not like that dog.
So if, I don't know if you're curious to pass this around. I don't know if that's necessary, but if you want to see these, we can look at them all in person. But I just want to let you know, to confirm what he's saying. This picks up radio frequency, and there's different frequency ranges. So each meter picks up a different frequency range. Just like in our with our eyes, we can only see a certain frequency of waveforms. The light's vibrating at certain frequencies, and there's other light spectrums we can't see, like infrared that comes from the sun. That's very healing. Turns on our mitochondria. So
Melatonin.
What?
Melatonin.
All that goodness.
Helium.
Yes. Yeah. And
Hydrogen.
then also the darkness I was talking about. I think that
Elements.
they're in a different waveform. That when the third eye's open, you can start seeing more. So this is another way that we can see the unseen. And it also translates into sound. So this is going to be a little jarring, but I just want you to know what it sounds like. This is just ambient right now. This is just ambient in the air, and this is what the radio frequency band is, what we're exposed to right now. And just so you know, it's very low. It's in the moderate. It's nothing crazy to be scared of or anything like that. It's low enough that this isn't like killing us. If we were downtown San Francisco, maybe not a healthy place right now, but you can at least hear it. Okay, here we go.
Sounds like an airplane.
So
That's what it's.
yeah. There's a color spectrum here. Green's best. Then it's in moderate. The next step up from moderate, and then it goes into high and then extreme.
So maybe after the airplane, yeah.
After the airplane, yeah. Well, I think that's enough for us to hear it, right? You can understand there's things in the air, and as you know, as you're learning that it is energy. It can be harvested. We're taking energy and then we're converting it into sound, and we're sending it through the air. And when our auras are strong and our body's healthy, we can be resilient to it. But if someone's under a lot of stress, or maybe they have a lot of heavy metals in their body, or you're just overexposed, whatever, then the body can kind of go into shock. And that's what I went through. And I'm a very strong guy. I've always was strong. But the thing that was unique was that it was when the 5G came out. The phone was 5G, and now that I've turned this back on, when it's on the 5G mode, I can feel it. And when someone else has their phone, I can kind of feel this like pressure coming upon me. And when my phone came out, I was feeling not right, but I was addicted to red kratom at the time. It was like instead of alcohol or weed, I was using that as a pain reliever. And I had some chronic pain from working on the computer and being a filmmaker, and so I was red kratom. And so I found that's not good long term. That's maybe a good medicine for a pain reliever, like instead of ibuprofen or something like that. It's a nice medicine. It's a plant-based thing. It's a leaf from Asia. And it has stimulant properties. But so the red one's more pain relief. And I found now that if I have some of that, I feel my aura get a little weaker and I'm more sensitive to things. So I'm working on healing my body, so I don't need that medicine anymore. But on my phone here, in the settings on and you can do this too if you want to try it, you can go in the settings and downgrade. So instead of it going to 5G, it'll stay in 4G. And I find 4G is a little more
You can
gentle.
actually set it to LTE.
That's it. LTE is the 4G. Yes, LTE.
Oh, LTE. That's 4G.
Yes.
Yeah,
I thought
you're
it was.
right.
I thought it
The
was
5G
less.
is a big issue.
They don't let the 3G, 2G anymore.
Yeah.
My Samsung S22, it won't allow you to. It's automatic.
Automatic
Okay,
5G.
setting.
It won't shift it won't change to 4G until you've got like one 5G.
Okay. So yeah, getting the right phone if you're sensitive to it. Some people aren't. Some people are totally resilient and they're fine. But what I want to speak to is I was speaking a little bit to the extreme. I was speaking a little bit to my extreme case, and there's other people that have extreme cases. But I got really curious about the science. I started printing out all the science and found out that there's subtle effects of just like lower dopamine, lower testosterone, trouble sleeping, headaches, irritability, trouble focusing, just low energy, just subtle things, things that if we got cut with a knife and we're bleeding, we're like, oh my God, I'm harmed and I need to do something about it and never cut myself again. But this stuff's very subtle. It's a very subtle thing that's going on to us. And so when you're saturated in it and it's normal, and you're just kind of funk and like, okay, I'm just going to drink more coffee and kind of function. That's where a lot of people might be. And then if you put yourself into nature and you get yourself in a pure environment and you start to notice your energy comes back, your clarity comes back, then that's something to look at. And maybe it's a good idea to go back to plugging in your computer, how it used to be done with an Ethernet cable. That's how we do it at home. And when people come home or come to our home, they say, wow, it feels so peaceful in here. And that's been my experience too. When I have my meter and I go into the forest and it gets down to the zeros and there's nothing. It's like, wow, there's a whole level of like relief in my body. And then my energy comes back in a whole new way. It's wonderful. So in our modern society, what the best advice I get from the EMF consultants I've worked with is to create a sleep sanctuary and a work sanctuary. So where you're spending most of your time, you can turn off wireless devices, get rid of Bluetooth, plug it in like this right here. When we were playing music, I have it plugged in, a little switch to aux, so it plugs right in and bypasses the Bluetooth. My computer I plug in, I ran a wire just around my house to the garage. It's easy to do, or you can hire someone to do that. Run a wire to where your computer is, and turn off the Wi-Fi. And then I have a little adapter for the phone. I plug it in, and I keep my phone mostly on airplane. It's on airplane right now. And I ask,
you all to put on airplane, and hopefully you did that. And I think you did, because the numbers weren't really high when I put it up and put up the meter just now. So that's a little bit about EMF. It's a big topic, but there is science on it, and we have a commission now. The Make America Healthy Again Commission is going to be looking at all sources of harm that's going on in our modern culture, from toxins in our food to electromagnetic radiation. It's going to be looking at everything. So we're going to get a report, and I'm grateful because I know the leader, Mr. Kennedy, his organization has been promoting awareness about EMFs, in addition to toxins and things that are in our food and medicines.
We had a question.
Yes.
So that meter will pick up the frequency of cell phones, microwave, and high voltage.
No, high voltage is a different one.
So
no.
that's more
This one.
more cell phone and microwave.
Yeah, radio frequency is a very fast, like it's super fast, very high frequency. It's in the gigahertz range, megahertz and gigahertz. And then electricity is in 60 hertz. It's very low. It's a very low frequency. So it's actually really hard to shield the magnetic field that comes from it. There's electricity and AC. It's an alternating current, and in this waveform, it creates a magnetic field. And so in high density areas where there's a lot of power running through a small wire, it's going to create these magnetic fields. And I actually have that at my house, and that was part of what knocked me down, because I'm living in a magnetic field, and we have iron in our blood, right? So the magnets pull on metal. So it's just tweaking me the whole time, and my body's trying to adapt and survive, but it's getting damaged and weakened. And the longer I spend there in the summertime, the weaker I feel. And my two neighbors have died recently, just next, and the whole neighborhood where I've read the higher higher readings, and it's just more run down. It's just a little more trashy, just lower vibe, because these people are struggling, not sleeping well. And it's just one section of the neighborhood. And then you go to another neighborhood where it's the end of the line, like the power comes in one corner, and that whole corner is where I live, kind of on the edge of that. And then there's another section at the end of the wires where there's less power running through there, and the numbers are way low. And I can feel in real time, and I've been taking my friends, like, let's walk over here, and they're like not really paying attention, but I'm like, just feel for a moment. And they're like, oh, okay. And then we go back to my house, and they're like, oh yeah, I feel like a little bit of a pressure on me. I can start to tune in. So it was subtle, and I bought my house in the winter, so it was gentle, and I was like, oh, great house. And I put in this beautiful garden, but then it went to the summertime, and I was just feeling really tired, and I didn't know what was going on. I was just in survival mode.
So do you know what, when your house was it built in the 20s?
1950s.
In where?
1950s.
Okay, I forgot. It'd probably be different in different parts of the country, where they would run, knob and tube.
Yeah.
And they'd have the voltage carrier on one side, and then the common on the other side, and so that creates a field in between. Now, with the advent of Romex, where you've got the neutral and the hot running next together, the field is only like an 1/8 inch apart. But my house, knob and tube from yesteryear, you can have the hot here and the neutral over here, and that creates a field in between. And I've picked that up, so that's some real consideration.
Yeah, definitely. That's important to be aware of. Get modern wiring. You can get modern wiring that has a metal shield around it, and that reduces the electric field even more. It's called MC cable. So you can, when you're wiring, Romex is just a plastic cable.
Yeah.
And then you can get MC cable, and it's a little bit more, but it has a metal tube on it.
A spiral sheath.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the readings are less. So like on Romex, the electric field comes out maybe about 8 feet.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. But not maybe the magnetic field that you're talking about. That could be a magnetic field issue. But the electric field, you can measure.
So I'd be interested in a demonstration sometime.
Okay.
with
Yeah,
that.
we could do that later. Yeah, we could go around and where there's power lines, and you can see. And then the magnetic field is a big one that can't really be blocked. There's nothing to do. You'd have to have just massive amounts of metal, or maybe earth.
Or a Faraday cage, possibly, a copper wire cage, similar to Faraday cage for your phone.
What about lead in the paint? I hear like they took lead out of the paint and purposefully in order to allow the energy fields to bombard us more. And it was just like it's better to get leaded paint again because it'll put that barrier everywhere in your house.
Yeah,
I
there's
don't know
paint.
about that.
There's paint with metal in it now that you can use. I have it in my RV. I actually used it in there. So yeah, you can get paints that create shielding. But these are all high frequency. It's all high frequency stuff. These waveforms are so big that you can't block it with
The lead
little
could
bits.
stop it, right?
Maybe if you have a thick wall of it, but I've talked to the top consultants that are into this, and they say there's no way you can you can subtly bring it down with sheets of metal, but you can't really substantially remove it.
Similar to
It's too strong.
the waveform of a whale. So low frequency, it can go like a freaking 100 miles in the ocean because it penetrates. The longer the waveform, the greater the penetration.
Exactly. Thank you for bringing the science to it. That's true. So out here, there's like no magnetic field. Let me turn this on and see what numbers we're getting in the magnetic field right now. Almost nothing. It's like 5, 4.
Yeah.
Very, very little. There's some power lines nearby, but this is like almost nothing. They say you want to sleep 20 or under is what the building biologists say. So it's at 4, so it's totally fine. Very safe here, very clean here.
That's the magnetic reading? Or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
They're two different devices.
Well, on here, it's 2 different sensors, so you switch between magnetic or electric, and this can tell you in real time. There should be no electric field out here.
Does that do
zero electric field out here right now.
Does that do in addition to what it does as the other green meter, or is that another?
This measures between 16 hertz and 100 kilohertz, and then the other ones are in the megahertz and gigahertz range,
okay.
Higher frequencies. That's what we use for our radio and Wi-Fi and cell phones, Bluetooth, all that. And then the last one to tell you about is dirty electricity. Now, dirty electricity, some say is maybe the worst one. It's a noise that travels along the power lines. It's like a carrier wave kind of. So it's a noise, and so this is an old school vintage Radio Shack that AM radio. It doesn't have any filtering to filter out noise because they made the modern ones to filter out the noise, and most modern electronics have these filters to filter out. They call it EMI, electromagnetic interference, or DE, dirty electricity, and it's. Have you ever seen those videos where they're playing sound on a plate and there's sand and you hit certain frequencies and it makes a shape?
Yeah.
Well, do you understand we're all vibrating particles, right? Yeah. Right? So we're kind of in the Wild West of technology where we're creating all these frequencies, and some may have no resonance in the body, but other ones do. And that's, I think, the leading edge where there's a big, like we said, big problem, big opportunity. There's a huge amount of money to be made to design technology that's going to not resonate with our bodies and create disharmony. And so this device, you turn it on and you can like right now it sounds like the ocean. That's fine. But if there was dirty electricity, we would hear some kind of tone, some kind of sound. And we can, actually, if I turn it on to one of my devices that is on, you can hear it real time. So it's kind of like, so there's a net sound.
Whoa.
You know, so there's different tones, and this is a primitive way to discover the sounds of dirty electricity. And some are fine. Some frequencies are totally innocent. But if you're having health issues and you tried everything else, then go to this. And then that was the big piece of the puzzle for me that I discovered last year, was on my air conditioner. Yes?
Yeah, I was going to say I had an experience with dirty electricity, and it seems like ungrounded homes or appliances or circuits can build up a very powerful dirty electricity charge that reaches out 15 to 20 feet. And I was in Hawaii and having trouble sleeping, and it was horrible. And we discovered and had to have $400 worth of electrical work in this place where we were staying to just ground part of the house.
Nice.
The electrician didn't even know about EMF.
Well,
The electrician was an ex-Navy submarine nuclear technician. He was poo-pooing EMF. He's like, what are you talking about? That's not real. I'm like, let me show you this device that measures electromagnetic frequencies.
yeah.
Anyway, that was an awakening moment for me. Every time I rent a place, I always go and check out the EMF and the blocks around, looking for, what do you call them, those stations where they've got all those giant electrical equipment, transformer towers or whatever. Like those are not good to be around either. They put out fields.
I had an interesting story along those lines. So this friend of mine went to a course and it was like $5,000, and in the course he got all these meters and he taught him how to use it all. Well, he comes over fresh out of that course. He's like, let's test your this is the house in Voluntaria thing. And so he's like, let's see, where are you sleeping? And we went and we checked the walls and everything because there's wires in the walls. Well, the thing I didn't realize is if there's nothing in the outlet and there's no light on, it's still like radiating out some dirty shit, right? And he said there's two ways you can solve the problem. One is just go to your breaker panel and right before you go to bed, just shut it off. And so I started doing that. He said the other way is you could buy a whole different circuit breaker that it actually shuts off at the breaker until you turn on your lamp, and then it like automatically flips the breaker on because it detects some kind of draw. But that's like, that's a lot of $200 in your panel. So I just figured, well, I'm sleeping for 6 or 8 hours, I'll just turn it off, and I did that for a while.
Yeah.
I need to do that here and figure that out. But that was one story. The other thing I wanted to ask you about is frequencies heal, right? That's what a PEMF mat is.
Certain.
But then you take one of those meters, and that thing is, it could not even read it. It was off the charts. So I'm like, what are we doing here? Like, are these frequencies really helping us, or are we just EMFing ourselves on overload? Or is it like a little bit of both? So I have a big question mark there. But the other thing is, with Wi-Fi, like Wi-Fi is bad, right? 2.4 gigahertz or 5 gigahertz is typical Wi-Fi, and you don't really want to be in a room full of one of those. But the PEMF mat is good, right? Why don't they make Wi-Fi routers that operate on the same frequencies as the PEMF mat?
I think that's what he's hinting at.
Then you'd want to be home, and you'd want to turn that thing up to 11. Right now, I have a router. Do you know about DDWRT?
Well, wait, I'll pause you on that conviction right there. Can I talk about that?
Yeah.
About maybe not wanting to crank it up because it's good for you?
Have you heard the term hormesis?
No.
Hormesis, does anyone know what this word is? Shaman? Mr. Shaman? You live it, bro. You live in hormesis. Hormesis is the term for like a natural, a stressor that's good. So exercise, cold therapy, saunas, even just stress of life, be an entrepreneur, dad, mom, teacher, whatever it may be, that little bit of stress, whatever doesn't kill us makes us stronger. The body can adapt. Breath holding, we can do some of that today too. That's actually been proven to increase oxygen, allow the body to become more resilient to stress. So hormesis is this term, umbrella term for anything that's stimulating the body in a small amount of stress that the body can adapt to and then become stronger from. So PEMF works in the same principle. It's a small amount of EMF, it pulses it, so it stimulates an immune response. So it's kind of like wakes you up.
You can have an immune response from the EMF?
Well, we are, yeah. That's what the scientific literature is saying. It's affecting our.
We have entered into the era of frequency medicine.
Well, and it can also cause cellular damage, dehydration.
Yeah, that's how they're going to kill the population, is through this frequency and
You said it, bro.
technology.
You
So
said
that's
it, bro.
that's like our number one issue right here now.
You said it. What'd you say?
Particularly with graphene and the vaccines.
That's our battle right
Yes,
now. Our
yes.
hidden battle
Yes.
that no one sees
Yes.
of invisible
Yeah.
is this EMF.
Yeah, it's a very.
That's what's going to take out. They plan to take out like 2/3 of the population by the end of this year
Oh my God.
with that EMF that we're talking about right now.
Yeah, they're pushing because their time is up. I just speak to the positive of this challenge is that right here, right now, we're increasing the light and we're talking about these things. And so we're countering the agenda of the darkness that wants to reduce the population and have this place to themselves. And so it's a real thing. It's a real thing.
For everyone to be aware, this is real.
Yeah, it's a real
so
thing.
Everything Zacharia is talking about, we need to really, if you want to be alive at the end of 2025, you know, you have to really submerge yourself in this.
The weak will die, you know, the weak are going to die, the strong will survive. We can act like it's not happening and do nothing about it, and we will just age faster, we'll just be weaker, we'll be more stressed, you know, or we can turn the stuff off and get our energy back and be happier, and it's just a choice that we get to make. I don't believe we're all going to die at the end of the year, but I know there's definitely forces that want to kill as many people as they can, as fast as they can, and
we're not going to die by any means, but the people that don't know about it,
they're stuck in the cities.
I mean, they're just, you know, they don't realize they're a frog in a pot of water, and the temperature's slowly being turned up, and before you know it, they're cooked.
Yeah, like Wi-Fi used to be really gentle and really low power, and it, you know, maybe it's fine. Maybe it's fine. It was a very low power, very, very gentle thing. But then everyone's like, oh, Wi-Fi's not working. I can't get my internet. And then everyone's complaining, and they're desiring. I want faster Wi-Fi. I want this. And then, okay, here you go.
Yeah,
There's
don't realize they're cooking themselves.
Yeah, and then each generation gets stronger and stronger. And
we're in a microwave oven. Would you hop in the microwave oven and hit the button and cook yourself?
No.
You know?
Not too fast.
So I got to tell you a quick story. We have Wi-Fi in the house.
Yeah.
And the network name is Wi-Fi.
I love that.
And then DDWRT, are you familiar with DDWRT? It's an open source firmware. It's an open source firmware upgrade that you use to router. So you go buy your router. First you check the compatibility list because they don't all of them work. Then you get the right router and you load this firmware on there. Well, now it gives you a setting and you could power down your Wi-Fi. So if you're close to it, you don't need much power. If you want it, because this is a problem, they put 16 antennas on them now, and I'm a gamer and I want it to be super fast and I want it to go through all the walls and everything. And then they have these like decent sized antennas, like 6 of them out of the thing, and the thing looks like a spider, and I'm sure it's horrific. But you throw DDWRT on there and you power that thing I think it's set to 20%, because what you do is you go to the far end of your house until it barely works, and then you turn it up just a notch, and now you're good, and you're not getting fried nearly as much even when it's on. So you either put a timer on it so it goes off at night when you go up and then it comes back on, or you do like I do. I don't even have the thing on unless people are over and people need it or whatever, but most of the time it's off.
Nice. You have a wired connection?
Yeah, I ran a wire in.
Yeah. You're kind of techie is easy for you, right? But
yeah.
Do you think that an average person can do it if they watch a video, or is it that easy, do you think?
Well, the DDWRT is kind of difficult.
But as far as the Ethernet, though?
Yeah, you just run a wire, but a lot of people, you know, the internet comes in on this side of the house,
right,
and their office is on the other side of the house. So I mean, you got to go up in the attic or something over down at Taveri's house. I crawled around in the attics for days, drilled holes down. I mean, there's 16 drops.
You can get around that with power line devices. You know about power line devices?
Yes. Yes.
But that creates a noise on the line. That creates dirty electricity.
It's in the same place where there is already dirty electricity.
Sure, true.
You know, in the power lines.
Depends on the device and the frequency, like we're talking about. Maybe it's a harmless frequency, maybe it's not. Depends on the device. Depends on
My understanding, my testing, it doesn't make it any worse. You can turn off your Wi-Fi and still have your internet.
Yeah, I used that for a long time, and when I was resilient and I felt fine with it. But then when I got really sick, I got rid of it all and I went wired.
So you take Ethernet into 110 and run it through the walls.
Yeah.
And anyone with a smart meter, get those removed immediately.
Oh yes.
The smart meters, that's what's going to kill you.
So I got a story for you on that. So my house in Colorado, I had a smart meter. I didn't know anything about it. This woman comes over. There was a movie called Take Back Your Power. Have you seen that?
I've seen it.
Yeah, Josh Del Sol made it. Well, this woman was interviewed in there, and she's a friend of mine in Colorado. Her son died at 30 from a brain tumor, this horrible thing. And she asked the doctor, she said, you know, what causes this? And he said, you don't want to know. She's like, no, I want to know. And he said, cell phones and cell phone towers. And she's like, really? He's like, yeah.
What was the name of it?
Take back your power.
Take back your power. So her son dies at 30. He's working at a university in a building, and like 100 feet away was a cell phone tower.
Oh my God.
6 other people in that office were having all kinds of health problems. He was the only one that died at that time, but that was like 5 or 8 years ago.
Yeah, it's hard to connect.
So then she goes on this mad rampage and finds all the cell phone towers in the area, and somehow starts looking up people and health events, and I don't know how she
Yeah, I
found all the
remember
data,
that.
but she found out that around every cell phone tower there was an abnormal
rate.
number of people that were either in the hospital for whatever or had died. And it was crazy, man.
These are
Tried-
5G towers, probably.
No, this
No,
was
no,
before
this is
5G.
against
Yeah.
5G.
It's the
Before 5G,
invisible
yeah.
killer. Right
So,
there.
so then she thinks, oh, the world needs to know this, and she goes to all these news stations to try to do this expose. No one would touch it with a 10-foot pole.
Yeah,
They would not air it on the news.
because Spectrum is a sponsor of every,
Yeah.
Right.
and
Right.
T-Mobile and
Yeah, the advertisement, the money
Yeah.
of the telecom industry is big. It's so profitable.
So she comes up. This is back to the smart meter. So she's telling me about the smart meters, and I'm like, and then we go out there and look, and I'm like, holy shit, I have a smart meter. I didn't even know. And my bed was here, the wall was here, the smart meter was on the outside of the
Oh,
wall.
man.
I was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what can we do about this? And she said, well, you can make this mesh thing. So I did, but then it just kind of, I don't know about the mesh thing. They say it works, but I'm like, how does it work if it's coming this way and I put the mesh on here? So I mean, I did that, but then on the inside, she's like, yeah, I don't know what you can do about this. I said, well, I know what I can do about this. I got foil, tin foil, that I used to make my hat with. I got foil, and I put it on the wall. I just put these 8-foot strips, and
Yeah.
I made a square 8 feet by 8 feet with tape and aluminum foil on the wall.
Yep.
And drastic difference. It
Yep.
completely blocked it on her meter.
Yep.
Yeah. So then I went to
I've done that.
Home Depot,
Still a Faraday
and I bought some like roofing aluminum, and it was like in this roll, and it was a lot thicker. So I made this really cool square with aluminum tape,
Oh,
and,
cool.
and then I was able to like screw it to the wall
Yeah.
because the foil was kind of
Yeah.
rickety,
Yeah.
And then I got a tapestry like the one that's in here, and just put it over it. Boom, you can't even tell.
Wow.
And totally blocked it.
Love that.
And the best part about it was the bonus was my neighbor was kind of an asshole. So all that stuff was hitting that and going towards his house. So like it was a double whammy.
yeah, I've done similar. I mean, you put up aluminum. If all your neighbors have the devices, you put up the aluminum
But
screen on your
that's
fence.
the enemy. The enemy is this EMF, the smart meters.
So how far?
Wi-Fi. That we're not going to get shot with bullets. We're going to get shot with the EMF.
So you want to hear my crazy idea?
Okay, let me finish my own story real quick. The one thing that was crazy that I never expected with her and her meter going around my little computer office / bedroom thing is I had a wireless mouse, and that thing pegged the fucking meter. I totally got rid of my wireless mouse and got a wired one.
Yeah,
And
I
yeah.
only use wired now.
Yeah.
Oh man.
And I never use Bluetooth. If I can plug in a wire like you were doing, I do that to a speaker. And yeah, no Bluetooth, no Wi-Fi unless I'm actually using it on the phone.
So how far can the smart meter transmit?
All the way back to the
Miles,
office.
miles and miles.
Yeah, they can
Like
read
we're-
it from wherever they're.
Well, no, it's read through the wires. There was
No. They drive by and they remote the trucks drive by and they read.
Well, I think
remotely
that was for
through
the for the old method. But
used to
what
be,
I
yeah.
understand is that the smart meters actually carry a signal
Yes.
over the high voltage wires.
Correct.
They do that as well. They do both.
Different companies
Well,
have different technologies.
Yeah.
Here's what I could tell you from my experience
Some of
with
them
her
work as
and her
some
meter.
of them work as a mesh. Excuse me. Some of
Yes,
them,
it's-
some of them work as a mesh and they communicate.
It's
with
like
each other. It sends it back.
like a master and slave.
So
kind of-
what I found out, Steve, I mean, I don't care how they get their data. All I care about is what is my device doing and how is it impacting my health. That damn thing, every 9 seconds, like clockwork, was just maxing out the
Blasting.
meter. Bam! 9 seconds later, bam! I mean, it was horrible.
It's almost lunchtime. We've been here for almost 2 hours, so I want to just wrap up this little segment and
Keep the discussion going for sure, and we need to keep this discussion going. Did you
Oh,
have
yeah,
something?
you have a
Brought
crazy
something
idea?
different?
So after I read that energy harvesting book, I was thinking, I was like, you know, people build a Faraday cage over their house, you know, to shield it, and it goes to ground. Well, instead of going to ground, put some batteries in there, and then it's just constantly keeping, you know, like low usage stuff going, like lights or whatever.
Let's do that. We'll have a metal roof here.
Nah,
Yeah.
JP Morgan will come and burn your house down.
What's that?
Where do I put the meter?
Yeah, yeah. But then even crazier is you could run a grid of an array of wires through all these trees, through the whole property, and have the whole thing shielded. You know, like, wow, think of that. Like a EMF-free zone. The whole thing.
trees are the natural ones.
Like the meter will be less when you're in a forest. The trees are a natural block. So having
Yeah, and you can take all that from the whole property and just put it into batteries.
most of the high power is going to be coming this way. The satellites are putting, but it's a very small amount. So the best thing you can do is to have a break around your property, a wall of trees that's blocking the signals from outside. That would be the best thing. But I want to finish this topic. So the solutions. So we talked about the problem, and we talked a little bit about solutions, but this is another piece of solutions, very important. And in the scientific literature, they discovered that nitric oxide was being affected, and calcium was being affected. And there's a Martin Paul, he's a Oregon doctor, put together this presentation. We can go deep into it. I have a printout that shows it, but I'll do my best to visually tell you that the energy that's coming in gets into our body and it bounces around. That's how it works. These things are bouncing around. So when the stuff's bouncing in our body, it hits our electrolytes like sodium, calcium, potassium, magnesium. They're electrolytes, so they hold an electric charge. And so when you're in a small amount of this energy, it's no big deal. If you're connected to the earth, it's also healthy because this energy discharges through you. But if you're wearing thick shoes, you're in a car, you're in a high rise or whatever you are, and you're disconnected from the earth and you're just being saturated in this high frequency, what can happen is in your blood, the energy can build up in the electrolytes. And this is the critical function that he found that is crucial. So there's a whole cascade of events that happen. First that happens is there's a cellular gate that regulates calcium in the cell. That gets blasted open and calcium floods into your cell. Now from that, your body goes, uh-oh, there's too much calcium. We need to be in balance. And so that goes into damage control and starts removing the calcium. And through that process, nitric oxide gets affected. And this is a very crucial element for our energy. It's in many cellular functions. So I've been supplementing with nitric oxide. Also, what happens along the journey is free radicals get created. So they're broken, these broken elements that are searching for an electron to feel whole. You know, they're sad and they need love. And so in that process of searching for electron, they're going to grab it from whatever at random. So that's why these effects are going to be different for different people, and they're going to be systemic and all over. It's happening randomly at the body, and it's kind of this chaotic process. So antioxidants are crucial. And there's many forms of antioxidants from our diet, minerals, and so I have some of these here. So the process, just to summarize what I said, is that the energy is being charged up, it's causing cellular damage, and then the body can either repair that damage, or if the body's weakened and under stress or undernourished or toxic, then the cell will die, or the mitochondria will shut down, and then you get low energy and the body can start to age faster. So it's kind of like smoking, where it's, you know, a little bit of this over time, it's just going to just age us faster. It's just going to cause early cell death. I think some of my gray hair, I think some of this is from stress and EMF and toxins. I think all of it. And so many people seem to have gray hair at a young age these days. So antioxidants are crucial, and there's many antioxidants: selenium, vitamin E, vitamin C. This is right from a tree right here, sour orange, and look at that thing, is just glowing, right? This thing was ripe on the tree and fell, and I picked it up and washed it, and it's so vibrant and so alive. So the more fresh food that we eat, fresh tree ripened food full of life and antioxidants in there, the better we're gonna do. So having a food forest, having your own garden, growing most of your fresh food that's perfectly ripe is the best thing we can do for our body. Next best thing is to have supplements and technology. So I bought some supplements to go into. I want to focus on the antioxidants for a moment. This is a hydrogen water bottle. This generates hydrogen. Now, remember I was talking about the free radicals that need an electron? The hydrogen neutralizes that because they're these oxygen species. They call them oxygen species because there are a few of them, but they have the theme of an oxygen element. Hydrogen comes to oxygen and makes water. So it's a very, very safe thing to do. And then what makes this so amazing is it's so small. Hydrogen is so small that it'll go through the whole body and go through the cells where other antioxidants can't get to. And it's so small that you have to generate it yourself. You can't buy this. It'll leak through the small holes inside the plastic. That's how small hydrogen is. It's in the sun. It's the most abundant thing we have. And yes, super, super tiny. Yeah, so H2 finds the O, neutralizes into water. So this is a very safe thing. They're studying it in Asia. They're using this as emergency medicine to put out the fires of inflammation. So someone has a stroke and they're not breathing, they can breathe hydrogen in these machines in the hospital and it'll prevent them from getting brain damage. If you're having pain in your body or any kind of damage, this will help heal the body. So I bring this with me when I'm in the modern environment, drink it about 3 times a day. And the effects last for maybe half an hour-ish. Like the concentration of hydrogen gets in your body and goes down.
Is it noticeable soon after you drink it?
It's more subtle. It's more
subtle.
just kind of preventing damage. It's like it's not like it's going to give you energy or make you feel like a drug or something. It's more just preventing your body from having damage. And when your body has damage and goes into stress, our energy generators and our cells, the mitochondria, shut down because they're afraid of there's some threat going on, so they shut down. So our body's making less energy. So the effects that I feel is that I have more energy overall when I'm taking this and I'm traveling.
Do you have to charge that through an
Yeah.
external source?
Yeah, it has a little battery. This is the best one I found, and it has a long.
Where can you get those? Like online?
Online, comes from Taiwan. But yeah, there's cheap ones on Amazon, but they're maybe not tested. There might be it's a whole new realm of products. So I would recommend something high quality. This is worth the money to me. It's a little pricey. There's cheaper ones out there. This is $250.
250.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Is it glass?
Definitely.
This is plastic. This is plastic. Ideally,
They have glass ones?
that would be the next level to make. Yes, but no, they don't. Not that I know of. But if you find one, let me know. It's a new technology. Couple more things to finish before we wrap this up is there's a nitric oxide testing kit. You may not need this, but I was curious about it. There's a company that makes a supplement. Nitric oxide you can take from amino acids, and bodybuilders take this, and it's nice. When I feel it, I feel more energy in my body, and it helps with circulation. The natural forms of nitric oxide are from beets and arugula. So if you eat beets and arugula on a regular basis, you're gonna get the awesome. You know
So
it.
you're saying beets?
Beets, yep, beets
Like
and
red beets?
Yes. Yeah, but you don't want to overdo beets because they have an oxalate, they have a plant toxin. So just like a quarter to a half cup. And if you eat it with a little bit of a calcium source, so goat cheese or something like that, it'll help neutralize the oxalate.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, I bought some like for smoothie powders.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the red beet stuff, organic. And so how often do you think? Like a few times a week or?
Yeah, you can have a little bit every day. Just
a little bit?
Yeah, just
half a teaspoon or something?
Sure, yeah, just put a little bit in your water or your smoothie or.
I eat them when I feel dehydrated.
Nice.
I eat beets.
Yeah, they're amazing, amazing thing. And then the last one, maybe last but not least, is iodine. Most of us are really low in iodine. Seaweed is a natural, easy source to get it. The Japanese have way lower rates of cancer because they eat seaweed in their diet, and they come here and eat our food, and they get higher, they get disease. Iodine is essential for cellular integrity, and where most of us are deficient in it. And what's amazing about it is the body can build up a store, so you can have a whole bunch of seaweed and then maybe not eat it for a while. But something definitely incorporate into our diet. And then also, as you know, like with radiation,
Yeah.
you know, with
Can I do the organic sea moss?
Yes.
That has the iodine.
Yes, great, great.
Organic who?
Sea moss. Sea moss.
Like Irish sea moss?
It's a seaweed.
Okay.
It
Yeah,
has
yeah,
seaweed.
and that contains like everything you need.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Contains as many nutrients as the Celtic sea salt.
Yes,
Yeah, or
but
more.
but in more quantity.
It's more.
Yeah.
Has a like 5 or 6 more minerals.
And
I
in
think.
and in more quantity, you're getting more.
Yeah.
Salt's very, 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 very tiny, but it's in there. And then trace minerals are also important, I believe, for EMF resilience and just body function in general. We need the trace minerals, we need the iodines of seaweed, a good thing, but also to find a pure source. This I bought a company, comes from like the very north end of Iceland, way up there.
This is great to know because actually
Yeah.
I have a good stockpile. I got
Yeah.
a gigantic cooler filled with like the organic sea moss, everything in like powdered form.
Yeah.
And the red beet and stuff like that. So yeah, it's great that I don't take any supplements, but that's what I do is the sea moss, the red beet, and add any to smoothies and the key limes, seeded key limes and.
That's like unprocessed supplement.
That's the best way, man. Whole food sources, pure whole food sources is the best way. And then another last thing is I've noticed just in general, B vitamins are really important for cellular energy, stress resilience, and so I found a plant-based one. So sometimes it's we can't get good quality food, so this is a whole food-based vitamin, and they make a men's and women's one. So it's called Whole Earth and Sea.
And nutritional yeast is more natural and loaded with
Sure.
the
Yeah, but it's deactivated yeast, right?
Yeah, yeast.
So how do they deactivate it?
It's killed, I think. But what I love about this is it has a lot of important things. What?
Deactivating yeast by putting it by EMF.
Good job, though. Thank you.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, good. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, Zach.
Yes.
Yeah, man. I can
Write
keep.
a book.
Okay.
Yeah, amazing.
I'm not
But
going to
this
be
is
able
the
to stay this
conversation
afternoon.
we need to
Yes.
have.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Oh, you're welcome.
Really, it's
Yeah.
wonderful.
Yeah.
How much is your book?
20, 25.
Okay.
whatever is good
All right.
for
Let me
you.
grab some cash. I'd like to take
Okay.
a copy with
Sure,
me.
please, yeah.
All right. And it was wonderful to meet all of you guys.
Yeah,
I'm sure we'll
nice
see each
pleasure,
other
sir.
again. Yeah.
Your boots are freaking cool.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, they are.
Much like I did this morning. It was really cool.
Stylish.
Oh, yes.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Zachariah, I got to take off.